Hello, welcome. This is P2Dl Season 7, I think we're on now. We got 2 divs this time, and the draft has completed. I believe, what, Chris? Did it complete 2 days ago now?
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like that. We had
today's...
Grace just finish up yesterday.
Yeah, today's Friday the 23rd. We already had like 3 battles. We're going in. This is my
Yeah.
team. This is just what I'm starting out with, because I don't want to start PRs on the worst team, but... we are doing divs 1 and 2 for this PRs today. We're going to start with div 2 and just work our way up. Do keep in mind that PRs are really subjective. Like, this is just what me and Chris think about these teams. It's not necessarily how well things are going to perform. Like, we had one of the lower players, like the lower ranked players of div 1 just win a battle earlier. Spoilers. But yeah, it
Yeah,
doesn't really say anything about the player. It's just the team and how we look at it here.
yeah. I guess there's a few players in here who this is going to be their first time experiencing PRs, right? Power
Mm-hmm.
rankings.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it's just, we're intentionally going to be picking at any little thing that we see of the team. That's if we didn't
Yeah.
have anything to say about it, there would be no point in you guys watching this.
Exactly. So
So we're here to hurt some feelings today.
yeah, we are going
Hope
to
you guys are
rip you
excited.
guys a new asshole in this one. So I mean, without further
And
ado,
in return, you know what? You guys can roast us
yeah, absolutely.
in the Discord and on the YouTube comments. Comment below, guys.
Comment below, like the video, subscribe. Um,
All right, I think we got all that stuff out of the
let's
way.
get right into it. We are going to
Do
start
it.
out with Div 2. We're going to go in ascending order. We're going to go 16 to 1 for Div 2, and then go to Div 1, 16 to 1 for there. Starting off Div 2, we have Chunga. Number 16, Chunga. Poor guy. What is there to really say about this team? Your first 2 mons are Melmetal and Mega Mawile. Like, I'm just confused looking at this team. Your Defogger is Flygon. You have 2 ground resist now. Before Grace, I believe this Cresselia was a Deoxys defense, and Electrode Hisui was regular Electrode, which helps out a little bit, but like then you kept it on Terra Suicune. I believe it's like what Terra Water, it doesn't even matter. It's Terra Suicune over Terra Cresselia. I just disagree with that every time. The thing I will say about this team, very bulky, very fat. It's just like hard to play into. I mean, Chris, if you have any notes on that, I don't have much to say about this team.
Yeah, I mean, it really is the top 2 picks kind of set the tone for the rest of the team, so it was hard to recover from that point on. But I think with, you got 5 free agent trades. If you make a couple nice trades, this team could be just fine. There's a bunch of good mons on the team. Just having a little bit better synergy and options when it comes to team building, what you're going to be able to prep against. There's just too much similarity between like Melmetal, Mega Mawile.
Yeah.
You got the double ghost here with Annihilate, Skeleturge. Annihilate, it's a big physical attacker again, just like Melmetal and Mega Mawile.
Yeah.
Just feels like
It
there's
feels
definitely
redundant.
some room for improvement here.
Yeah, this team kind of needs to blow it up. We have these videos structured for PRs. We have the bottom 2. It's like blow it up. Like that's the shittest of the shit teams. Absolutely, just blow it up. Blow all these teams up. Use your 5 FA points. We're gonna have like need some love, where you really need like 1 or 2 changes and you're fine. Then we have like playoff bound, which is top 8. That's what like who we think is gonna make playoffs, and then like definite contenders, like top 4 great teams, semifinals. Really, what we think. We're gonna predict who makes playoffs after this, after we do all the PRs here. But yeah, Chunga needs a little bit of love. I don't have much else to say. Let's move on.
Yep.
Number 15, we have Cronus, the Dragon King, I believe is the full name for this team here. I mean, I
We
I'm
started
impressed.
off
Yeah.
unbelievably here.
Yeah, we started off just incredible. Cronus
The
had
round 1
what?
Grim Snarl.
Cronus had what, like 11th pick or something?
I think somewhere around there,
Yeah.
maybe 13.
Yeah, and it's just Round one, Grimmsnarl. I love
Grimmsnarl.
it. I
And you know
love it.
what? I mean, maybe there's a reason for it if you're drafting a super cool team with Grimmsnarl, which we'll
Yeah,
actually see in top div later
we
on.
will.
But it doesn't like there's nothing on this team that you're blown away by the synergy that like the pros that it gains from having that Grimmsnarl there.
Yeah,
Again, same thing as last team. You make some trades with this team and it can be much, much better than it is.
yeah,
Just feels a little bit lacking at the moment.
yeah. And also something else to touch on, like speed tiers. You like, again, if you get rid of Dupiter, like this is your speed. Your high speed tier is 110 with Zoroark Kasui. I will say, there is a really funny bit here with Zoroark Kasui and like Kyurem, where if you're like leading off with the Zoroark and they think it's a Kyurem, then you press a fighting move and it doesn't work and Zoroark revenges you. That's funny, but it's not reliable. And so I think like with some speed tiers, with some like differentiating factors, like Mega Venusaur doesn't need to be here. You can get rid of Mega Venusaur. It's not doing much for you. This team needs some love, definitely. I don't have anything else to say about this. It's not one of the
Yeah.
best teams I've ever seen.
Yeah. Again, a little bit more versatility. Like there's no fairy type. Oh wait, no, there is a fairy type.
Yeah, it's
Grimmsnarl. It's kind of an odd
Grimmsnarl.
fairy type.
Yeah, not the most reliable. And then like you have Dracovish here. I guess I mean it's low div. Dracovish is gonna do work. Again, we're not saying that this team is gonna be unsuccessful. We're just saying it's not the best. There's not too much to say about that. Number 14,
Yeah.
we have David with the rising Rayquazas, rising. I don't know.
Yep.
We have David. Honestly, this team is not the worst. This team kind of borders on like it just needs a little something extra. Like I don't know what else like how else to describe it. You know, Iron Valiant Latios is cool. And then what? Then you drop off and you spend 17 points on Corviknight as your steal. And then you have physical wall breakers such as Darmanitan and Cleavor, but like your special attack is Latios. And if that thing's getting outsped and you have to put a choice scarf on it, it's just not the best. I would have loved to see Sticky Webs on this team actually. I feel like Sticky Webs could have made this team work a lot better than it works right now. And just like I mean, again, this team's gonna do just fine, spamming momentum with a U-turn, flip turn, Volt Switch from Kilowattrel, you know, Terra Kilowattrel, Terra Cleavor. It's gonna do just fine. It's just
There's,
it's just weak.
I think there's a lot of solid pieces on this team. It just seems like I mean, yeah, you kind of said it like the wall breaker here physically is Darmanitan. It kind of Cleavor, but it's sort of a dedicated lead more often than not.
Yeah,
Valiant and Latios is decent damage, but then it just kind of feels like the rest of the team is like Serena, Kilowattrel, or they do what they do okay. They're not bad, but there's no. I mean, Corviknight is there for defense. Swampert is there for defense. There's no dedicated special defense here.
yeah. There's also like weirdly lacking support. Like, where's the support? Where's like I would love to see like Wish Pass or something, or like something to really just sit there and press Thunder Wave. But I think the only thing that can really do that is Latios and Kilowattrel, and then you'd have to like delegate your Iron Valiant to deal with the whole team, or you delegate your Iron Valiant to be support, and it just doesn't work. Like I feel like there's just anti-synergy with a lot of the mons here. But again, it's low div. This team's gonna be just fine.
Yeah, I think David will be able to play it well enough too that he'll
Yeah,
definitely. I think he'll do better than his ranking in
yeah,
PRs
most
is going to
definitely,
dictate.
most definitely. Number 13, my boy. We have God the Sequel, also known as Alex, also known as my good buddy. You poor guy. So I feel like this team is
We
almost
start off great.
yeah, we start off great. This team is almost unjustly put at number 13, but it's here for good reason. So again, I helped Alex build this team, and he was very, very, very adamant on these top three. And you look at these top three, you're like, oh my god, the offense is crazy. We got Bundle, Coco, we got Iron Treads for a little support. And it's like, alright, what do you pick next? Well, you need some kind of resistances, so we go Terra Hydrapple. Maybe not the best, but it's fine. And you look at this, you're like, alright, you need a fire resist, you need a ground resist. Let's get that all in one Pokemon. And then it just, like Mega Sableye, really? Like, that's the best defensive option.
After the Rotom, there's a big drop-off on the team. I think with 5 free agent trades,
yeah,
you probably want to use all 5 of them here and just blow up that bottom portion of the team, because the top bit is so good that there's got to be some different combination of what you can use down at the bottom.
Yeah, and then
to just really help these top mons do what they do best.
And then, like,
you've got such good offense with the first 2, super reliable rapid spin and defense with Iron Treads, can even run some offensive sets. Hydrapple is a decent mon, especially with Terra. Like,
Hydrapple's a great
you can make that work.
Hydrapple's great, especially with Terra, but here, if you look at your stats, you are forced to run AV Hydrapple a lot more than you want, because Rotom Heat is not the most reliable special defense tank, and Toad Scroll can only take 1 Ice Beam. You know? It's just not... It's not going to work out defensively, so you have to play around the electric terrain super, like, hyper-offensively, and you'll be okay. But, like...
Yeah.
Even just, like, 15 points on Rotom Heat just wasn't the moves here. I know Moltres got sniped, which we'll get to. Moltres did get sniped from Alex here, which really sucks. And then I was talking to him, I was like, alright, you need a fighting type, grounded poison. He said, Toxicroak! I said, no! And he picked it. So, that's what I want to leave that with. I just don't think the lower mons do any justice. Mega Sableye sucks in draft.
I think if these lower mons had, like, a more reliable, specially defensive mon, and I think if that second Terra was maybe some sort of a sweeper better suited to this team, like, I don't know if Sceptile is still up for this electric terrain, something like that, I feel like would be better, though.
Yeah, and then just, like, not worrying about type charts at all, and just going super hyper offense and just overwhelming your opponent. You'd be just fine here, but
yeah.
Moving on, we have number 12. We have Roxas. Roxas, the King of Bell. Is that the name? Full name? Not sure. This team kind of sucks, but it has tools to make it work great. Greninja, Slowking, Galar is a really, really nice top 2, especially with Greninja having Battle Bond and Protean. It's really cool. It's like something else you have to prep for. And then, like, I feel like Baxcalibur is here because of Slowking, Galar, and it's fine. And you go round 4 Regieleki, and things just fall apart. And then there's a Shuckle. I don't know what the Shuckle's doing here. But, like, the moment that you take this away and you just look at the stats, everything falls apart. Like, speed tiers are nice, I will say that, but, like, your main defensive mon is Arctovish under the snow. And then, like, your main Spadef is Slowking Galar, which is fine, but, like, that's all of the special pressure put on Slowking. And once a team with, like, a Darkrai or Spectre comes out, your AV is going to mean absolutely nothing. Typhlosion's nice Terra Captain, but then Breloom over Comfey. Like, it's just a couple of things that need a little bit of love to get this team really going. If you're wondering why Landorus is so low here, Landorus was picked round 10. I believe it was still up, and Roxas just scooped it up, which is, you know, a really nice pickup. Landorus with sheer force, nasty plot, really good mon, but, like, Volbeat's reliable. It's just not the best that you can do with the top 3.
Yeah, I think it looks like the defensive responsibility all just falls entirely on Shuckle here too, which is not, I would say, the most reliable defensive mon. Changing out the Shuckle and maybe depending on what you're able to get your hands on, I think maybe changing up some of these other low tier mons as well could
Yeah,
make this team a whole lot better. Yeah, the Slow
yeah,
King Baxcalibur, great. Greninja pairs with them pretty well too. Landorus as well pairs with them nicely.
yeah,
Regieleki is always nice to have. And these bottom mons, individually, they're not terrible, but I think their place on this team is a little bit unclear to me here. I mean, Webb's sure helps with like a Swords Dance Baxcalibur a little bit better.
yeah. But then,
There's just not there's no real defensive mode that this team can run if it finds itself in a rough matchup, which may or may not be a problem.
yeah, and then like Regieleki's there, but you have the Shuckle sticky webs. Like Regieleki almost goes on a team when you're trying to compensate for speed or you really just want screens, and I feel like this team doesn't really want either. Like, it doesn't need it, especially because you're gonna have the what is it? Like Arctifish is a super nice bring here to have Slush Rush with the Slowking what is it called? Chili Reception. I just don't feel like it's gonna work out the way you think it will. And then you have Shuckle there for webs, for a little bit of compensation, but then Regieleki just doesn't fit. And so I feel like this team is just super matchup fish, and it's just not good defensively.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. Moving on, number 11, we have Throggy. This is the first team that I see that I'm like, okay, now we're like getting into like weird looking like playoff territory, but this team can use a lot of love. We were talking last night going over this, and I feel like if you're gonna draft Double Dragon in Sun, you don't want both of them to be Sun Sweepers. Like you have Gouging Fire and Roaring Moon, just go with one or the other, really. I feel like, again, if you were to have both of them, I feel like I'd almost always want Roaring Moon to come to every matchup over Gouging Fire, even though Gouging Fire has, the obvious Sun synergy. I feel like Roaring Moon just does better here. And then, like, I mean, Great Tusk is fine. Orthworm's, whatever, but round 4 without Shedtail. Like, Shedtail's banned. What are you going round 4 Orthworm for? And then you're going Torkoal and Hatterene, Venusaur, like, these...
I don't hate Orthworm here. I think it's funny to have a steel type that is a ground immunity on a Sun team that's usually got some ground weaknesses like the Torkoal, Houndoom. But I think, the low tiers, again, for me, are where this team is really make it or break it. And I think...
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Like, if you look at it, the low tiers add nothing. Legit, on the type chart, it just breaks you. And I just don't feel like these low tiers are, like, necessary. I feel like Mega Houndoom is fine, but you have the Gouging Fire, and so you always want to bring Roaring Moon. It just... There's, like... I never thought I'd be able to say this. There's anti-synergy with the Sun team. And then another aspect of Sun teams, which I figured out running... It was like Groudon, Sun, and ONL, and I know that's a weird statement to make, like, oh, you had Groudon as your Sun setter, of course it works out of Sun. Listen. Great Tusk, Roaring Moon, Orthworm works wonderfully out of Sun. Terra Hatterene, great. What else do you have? What else is going on here? Outside of Sun. If you're going against a rain team or a sand team per se, spoilers, like you just fall apart. That's my take. That's all I gotta say about that.
I think that's pretty much it. It's just the bottom mons could much better support this type of team, and it's super doable, I'd say. Without even looking at the draft board, there's got to be some stuff up there that you could swap out and really have that support that this kind of a team would prefer, and maybe even swap out, like Rapid was saying, either the Gouging Fire or the Roaring Moon. It does feel like a little bit of what we were talking about with Chunga's team with the Melmetal Mega Mawile.
Like it's two of the same. They feel really similar, but that's that. Number 10. We have a super threatening team here with Sky 32. Sky's team is really funny. We got Mega Gallade, King Gambit, Volcarona, but this was wheel pick, if I remember correctly. So this was wheel pick number 16, and Sky thought it was in their best interest. I think Sky's a chick, but it was in Sky's best interest to go Mega Glade King Gambit, and I just don't see the vision. Maybe I'm just missing something, but I would want an actual Steel type with Mega Glade to be able to switch into those Moonblasts. Volcarona's cool. I like Volcarona in draft, and then you get like Togekiss support, Tentacruel support, Druddigan support. You can even run like support Volcarona. You get Terra, Shell Smash Torterra with the Oricorio. Cutie Fly and Snom are just here to be here, I guess. Like, if you take that away, you get a much better look at what the team really is. And I feel like this team could probably make playoffs.
It's not even, like, offensively. The team is going to put some work in, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I think same as the last draft, the defensive options are not really here.
Yeah.
There's, like, one mode that this team is going to play in,
Mm-hmm.
and that's offense.
Yeah.
Just straight up offense.
Like, the one dimension is death. Like,
Yeah.
it's. I think this team's gonna do just fine. I just think that
It's not a bad team at all.
a little
Yeah.
bit of retooling of the defensive options would be, absolutely wonderful.
You're putting yourself a little bit behind by having to play the same style week over week. And of course, this team's got some variability to it. It's not just, as black and white as we're presenting it here, but you have to go above and beyond if you're playing the same style over and over to keep ahead of your opponents who are watching you and going, okay, this is how they play.
Yeah, that was wonderfully said. There's other teams just like that in high div that I have personally used before, like the same archetype, the same like top 5, where you're gonna be suggested to use this, but it's not powerful. It's not strong. It's like you need to put so much effort into team building.
Yeah. And
Um,
at the same time, having said that, stuff like Volcarona is just sometimes such a threat that even when you see it coming,
Yeah.
it's still tough.
yeah, it's
Still
really,
tough.
really strong. We move on because we are spending a lot of time on this. Number 9, we have Ender. Ender really went above and beyond with this team here. There's just the one complaint that I have. I'll get right into it. Actually, there's 2. Palafin, Zapdos, and Tinglu is just terrifying top 3. Ogerpon is like a nice like offensive support. You got Sylveon for Spadef, Tinglu for defense in Spadef. Tinkaton's there, it's super nice. Armarouge is really good Terra Captain. Mence is a nice dragon. You have Masquerain for webs. It's great. But what's going on here? What's going on? There's like, I think a Salazzle can outspeed and just like ruin this team. You need more than like why do you have 3 Mons all at 100 speed? And then
Yeah, it's not ideal.
Yeah.
You look at this team just based on the Mons themselves, and like, this is a great team. But yeah, you can see there's a couple things like the speed tiers that it's just stuff like that. That's what's holding the team back here, I think. If you trade out a couple of these like 100 base speed tier Mons, get something like 120, 125, that would be a nice boost to what this team is able to go up against.
Yeah. Because when you have base 100s like this, especially when one of them's super defensive, the other one's Palafin, like, there's some Mons that'll just be able to run, like, Adamant. Like, against a Dragapult, Dragapult's going to be Adamant or Modest and be super bulky against this team because it can.
Yeah.
Like, just because it can. And I feel like this team is just held back by the speed tiers, and also, I don't mean to sound like a dick, but I don't...
But you're going to.
Yeah, I'm going to. I can't even personally figure out how to use Palafin properly. I don't think Ender is going to be able to. This is more of the subjective bit where, Ender's our buddy, he's been in draft for a while. I don't think he'll be able to figure out Palafin.
There's also, so look at this. I think there's almost no like ideal Scarfer on this team. Ogerpon can't. Palafin, if it's going to choice, it wants that ban.
It can. This is base
Oh, it
Ogrepon.
doesn't have to hold the
Mm-hmm,
mask.
mm-hmm,
That's right.
mm-hmm.
That's the base Ogrepon. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So Ogrepon can. That's not
Yeah,
bad. That's probably your
yeah.
dedicated Scarf Mon then, if anything.
Well, that and Ments. I feel like Ments, like Scarf Moxie's
Ah,
pretty good, but it's not ideal ever.
it wants to run the Dragon Dance ideally,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So, I mean, there's not much. There's not too much bad to say about the team, but it's pretty alright. Number 8, Mother Sexer, also known as MC. Goat name, by the way. I love that. Um, Dragapult. Okay, Dragapult, Ursaluna Bloodmoon, Ogrepon Hearthflame, Rotom Wash, Donphan, Petrut, Bisharp, Rabombi, Clawitzer, Torcat. What?
Once you see all the Mons that were drafted after the Rabombi is more forgivable here. The round 3 Rabombi.
Yeah, but it's so,
It's a solid team.
yeah, it's so like risky to do that. And I I just want to say, last season of P2 I had Dragapult, Darkrai, Gliscor, and coming up on the second pick, I believe Darkrai went as a wheel pick. The first, I feel like it went in to the number 1 pick, wheel pick. And MC had the opportunity to go Dragapult Darkrai here and just like ruin people offensively, but Ursaluna Blood Moon, and then you see the next pick being Rabombi, and you're just confused. I was confused. But Ogrepon, Rotom, Petrunt is really nice defensively. I just think the only thing this team really lacks is Spadef.
Yeah, there's no Spadefmon. You're
Yeah.
almost forced into like Assault Vest Clawitzer
Mhm.
or I mean nothing else even really wants to run Assault
Yeah,
Vest. You
I
got the
think
Eviolite Bisharp to
yeah.
boost that special defense a little bit. That's about it.
I feel like special defense Petrunt comes to like every game here. It is what it
Yeah.
is.
It's you know what? It's a solid team. I think
Yeah,
maybe
solid team. Solid team.
if there was anything I would like to see traded out, it's maybe the Clawitzer and the Torracat for like
Like a low tier
some more
shell
reliable
smasher.
Spadef.
Yeah, even that, yeah.
Um Yeah, there's not much else I have to
Yeah.
complain about this team. It's pretty threatening looking. Just these 3 right here, Dragapult, Ursa, and Ogrepon.
Yep.
Those are hard to switch into.
Yeah. Next up we have Crash. New player to the server. I believe it's one of Rappy Yogurt's friends. Super cool. This team
We got a sand team.
This team is funny. It's Sand with Mega Tyranitar over regular Tyranitar, which is very confusing to me. Looking at this team, this is a Sand team that wants webs. I feel like there's not much to say about this team. It's Goldengo or Shifu Rapid for breakers. You have Excadrill as a breaker. You have Mega T-Tar as a breaker. Then you have Hoopa Unbound, and it doesn't belong. That's the only thing I change about this team. Get rid of Hoopa. What are you doing? Take Terra off of Noivern and Stoutland. Put it on Celebi, dude. Terra Celebi is disgusting. And just retooling the Terra and spending the 16 points that you spent on Hoopa Unbound on literally anything else, like a fairy type, it would be 10 times better. I don't
Yeah, we were saying last night,
team.
like Enamorus would probably be a perfect replacement
Yes.
for Hoopa.
Yes, Enamorus Incarnate
Or
was
something
still
like
on
that.
the board, and it would just be that much better here. And then, like, your defog is Noivern, and that's fine. But just not having that reliable, like, T-Spikes pickup, like, you don't have a grounded poison. T-Spikes really does a number on your team. Like, you're forced to really put out Excadrill and, like, make sure Goldango and Excadrill switch out and back until you can finally get the Rapid Spin off, and it's just not reliable. Number 6, we have Eric, another newcomer. We have a bunch of new people in the draft league. Me and Chris were super disappointed when we saw this team. It's good. It's good. We have Spectrier, Urshifu Single Strike, Glamora, Terra Metagross, Megazard X, and like Aloe. Your defogger is Gligar. And it's fine. It's fine. It's Terra Gligar, but this Gligar has to come to every single game unless you want to run like support Tornadus. But like Tornadus doesn't get like Thunderwave or anything, or like Yawn, like nothing. It's toxic. You run
Yeah,
pranks are
I think
toxic.
my feelings on the team here were I liked it a good bit
Yes.
better before the recent trades that he made. So he
Yes.
had instead of the Zard X, he had Mega Altaria. Instead
Mm-hmm.
of the Aloe, he had Seismitoad. I get the trades because now he's got better
Ice
ice
type.
switch
Yep.
in, but I do think that Altaria being like you could kind of dedicate it as that defensive defogger sort of mon. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that fit really nicely on this team.
Yeah.
You've got offensive pressure with Urshifu, Metagross. I mean,
Zardex
Charles,
top
it's
tier.
it's not bad to have. I just think the synergy was a little bit better before, and we actually had this team,
Mm-hmm.
I think, up one or two places before the trades, and
Yes.
once the trades went in, we felt like it had to come down a spot or two.
Yeah, this team really suffers against like Spike Stealth Rock spam, unironically. And then like your Glamora is the spinner. Like you have to run like Mortal Spin Glamora and just make sure you get that off, but then you can't run, you know, whatever like corrosion or toxic debris set that you want because you're forced to use it as a spinner. That's just not what Glamora does best. Glamora, it's better as a sweeper than that. It's super sad to see, but
He also
overall,
had Terra Arboliva before.
yes. And I feel like Terra Arboliva as a Spadefmon would have been
Right.
beautiful.
Was some much needed special defense.
Yes.
And considering the partial ice weakness that the team had, like
Mm-hmm.
Metagross was kind of the main switch in, besides Seismitoad having the neutral.
Mm-hmm.
I thought if you just Terra watered the Arboliva, it was a nice way to kind of make up for that
Yeah.
that some people might overlook in team building.
Yeah, like Terra Water, Terra... Literally just Fire, Water, Grass on your Arboliva would have done wonders.
Yeah.
But just...
And then
it
having
didn't
said
happen.
all that, there's a Spectrier right at the top here.
Dude, it's
And if you're
Spectrier
not
or Shifu
careful,
Single Strike. This team's gonna do fine. Yeah.
these are just going to beat you
Yeah.
on their own.
This team's gonna be fine. It's just there's some inconsistencies.
As we said at the beginning,
Yeah.
we're being nitpicky here. Otherwise, why would anyone even watch?
Yeah. Angry Kid, number 5. Newcomer, kind of new to battling. But like this team's funny. We got Chanpao
Good
Megalop.
team.
Yeah, Chanpao Megalop as your top 2 speed tiers. I would have loved to see something at like 110. Like I would have
Right,
loved
yeah.
to see Gengar over Pheasantipity and Dusclops. Actually, that would have been beautiful. But that takes away from your defense. Super hyper offensive team where your defensive mons are Registeel, Pheasantipity, and then I feel like Mudsdale adds a lot to this team, and Altaria, funny enough, adds so much to this team.
Yeah.
With Defog,
Yeah.
Natural Cure, like able to Cloud9 the weather teams. I like it a lot.
I know he wanted the Gliscor when he was
Mhm.
drafting, and it's definitely better than Altaria,
Yeah.
generally speaking. But you know what? For the value that you get from Altaria,
Dude, for 2
you might
points.
have to bring it to a couple more games than you really want to,
Yeah.
but having it is a nice option, and the rest of the pieces of this team, super nice. Chen
super
Pao
cool.
Megalop hits everything. Volcanion and Thunderous, good special attackers.
Mhm.
Rillaboom, as we saw earlier,
Spoilers.
did some big damage.
Yeah. It's funny. It's
Registeel,
really funny.
great.
Yeah.
Even Dusclops. It's a nice low tier mon if you need it.
Yeah. It's there's not much else to say. This team's beautiful. I like it a lot.
Yeah. Fourth place.
Yeah. No, 5th place. Moving on to 4th. Moving on to 4th, we have Clay. Clay is a lot of people say Clay should not be in low div. I agree, but like we're going to see what happens. This team, I don't even want to talk about this team. All it does is click buttons. You're running the exact same sets on every single mon every week. You're running Rocky Helmet or defensive whatever Landorus every time. You're running Scarf Cinderace. You are running Setup Ogerpon. You are running... I feel like you have to run Nasty Plot Hydreigon here most of the time, but you can just run Scarf Hydreigon, Trick Room Stack Attacka, like whatever defensive Calm Mind or offensive Mega Gardevoir, Shell Smash Poltegeist, Webs Vikavolt or Iron Defense Vikavolt, and like whatever Drapion. It's the same thing every week.
The biggest decision Clay's gonna have to make every week is,
Uh-huh.
do I want to sweep with Stack Attacka or do I want to sweep with Poltegeist?
It's so funny. This team's great. There,
Solid
yeah.
team. I think Clay is definitely a favorite to win this division.
Yeah, I think if anyone's gonna like come out on top, it's probably gonna be Clay. But like this team's really funny. Um, Not much else to say. Moving on. Number 3, we have Rhino Shark. This team is a little bit funny. This team looks funny. But the more like we deep dove into it, me and Chris realized, dude, this team is disgusting. Um, Mega Scizor Darkrai is the top 2 is great, and then Moltres. Not going Terra Moltres kind of sucks, but it's fine. But like Moltres defensively, Primarina defensively, Clodsire, like that's a crazy defensive core. You have Terra Cloyster on defense if you want, or you can sweep. Hisuian Lilligant is obviously disgusting. And then there's what is this round 10? Round 8 Raging Bolt. What?
Nice pickup. It's a nice pickup.
Round 8 Raging Bolt. That's crazy.
Was actually like that, having that special attacker on the team now really helped the team out big time too.
Yeah, I feel like if
It's a great
Raging
pickup.
Bolt was like any other mon, you disperse those points between your last 3 Pokemon there, then this team would be like number 8 or something. But the fact that Raging Bolt is there with Mega Scizor and Darkrai, it's disgusting. There's great hazards here. There's great removal. Pretty good momentum. You know, you get, I mean, screen support is low, but you get like Darkrai to just eat everybody. And this
Yeah.
was first pick, actually. We had first pick Mega Scizor.
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
Very interesting.
Yeah, a lot about this team is just very well balanced. I think there's a couple little things you can nitpick, like speed tiers a little bit at the top end there.
Yeah.
Another flying type switch in would have been nice. Like,
Yeah.
other than that, this is a super solid team.
Yeah. I feel like, I think it's like Terra Ice Cloyster will be able to just switch into flying types fine. But yeah, it's disgusting. I mean, if you want to nitpick this team, you can. But especially the player that Rhino Shark is, I feel like this team's gonna do great. This
Yeah,
team's
no
gonna be
doubt.
just fine. Number 2, we have Godver with the disgusting rain.
Filthy.
There's absolutely nothing to say about this team other than Rain has become so much better since Archaludon was introduced. And like Overquill is great for support. But this team really thrives off of the backbone of Tapu Lele preventing like extreme speed and bullet punch and all that. I feel like Tapu Lele just adds so much to this team. It's great.
I mean, Pelipper, Barraskewda, Archaludon,
Mm-hmm.
Mega Swampert, you know, that's a ladder team easily.
Yeah.
And then you pair it with things like Terra Diplin, Terra Kingdra,
Mm-hmm.
Overquill, a nice defensive mon with some hazards. Tapu Lele, a huge special attacker, which this rain team outside, like
Outside of
even Kingdra's
Archaludon, like it
and
needed.
Archaludon,
Yeah.
yeah. Tornado that frees Tornadus up too to not have to
Like
kind
run
of take on that
specs.
specially
Yeah.
offensive responsibility. It can be defensive. It can do whatever it wants because the rest of this team covers its bases. This is a super scary team.
Super solid, super scary rain team. It's just great. This team's gonna like probably go 9-0 in the regular season.
It very well could, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Number 1 may come as a surprise. We put Coop at number 1.
We did.
This team, I love this team. If I could have drafted this team, I would have. This team is disgusting.
Yeah, call us basic, but this is like just if you were to build a cookie cutter team for like how to draft video, it would look exactly like this.
Yes.
100%.
Yes, especially like, dude, you got the what is it, the sickest Dragon Fairy Steel Core of all time with Garchomp, Heatran, and Clefable. Get Wish support from Clefable. You got Skarmory, and like you can run like Skarm Heatran and just absolutely like overwhelm people defensively. Mega Manectric is a wicked pickup and it fills out the speed tier so nicely. Quaquaval is really nice. Terra Mismagius is really nice for like spin blocking, for ground resist, and then Ariados. for the 2 points that you had left over, getting a web setter that like
Yeah.
doesn't suck is wonderful. I love this team. I love this team
Yeah.
so much.
Yep. Does everything you need it to do. It's got
Yep.
all the different kinds of utility you could ever want.
Mm-hmm.
That type chart just looks so nice. He's got
Yeah.
multiple resists for each typing
Mm-hmm.
here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, outside of Ghost would be the only one he doesn't have more than one resist to,
Yeah.
which
I mean,
with
Meowscarada is
Ghost,
not
that's
the
usually how it
best thing
goes.
here, yeah, but there's also
Yeah.
just Terra mismatch. It's gross. And then the only thing that I could really say about this team is that the removal is weird because it's Skarmory, Defog, and Quaquaval Rapid Spin. It's gonna be fine.
No, that's
Yeah,
fantastic removal.
it's gonna be fantastic. There's not much else to
Yep,
say about this team. This is basically OU.
that's it.
Who,
And that's our
yeah,
number one team for Div
yeah,
2.
that's Div 2. Who do we think's making playoffs? I'm gonna say this right now. Coop, I'm sorry. This is number 1 team PRs. I don't think you're making playoffs. I just the
Yeah, if we're gonna
yeah.
guess who we think is making playoffs, this is
Mhm.
where so power rankings is just ranking your team.
Yeah.
But who you think is gonna make playoffs, now you're factoring in the
Mhm.
players' skill
Mhm.
and experience.
Mhm. So
And
like
that's a whole different thing.
yeah, so if I'm gonna
Um
pick playoffs, top 8. We got Godver, that's 1, 2 with Rhino Shark, 3 with Clay. I think Clay's winning it all, obviously.
yeah, could for
I
sure.
I got Angry Kid at 4 because I really want Angry Kid to do something good. I think Eric's gonna make it to finals.
Yeah.
That's 5. MC at 6. I
Yeah.
got Alex at 7 to make it in because this team's just gonna make it in. And then for 8, it's between like Crash and Ender for me. It's between
Yeah,
Crash and
I
Ender.
would I would say special shout out to Sky,
Yes.
Throggy, and
Maybe we got
maybe even a dark horse David.
yeah. I mean, Dark Horse David. I don't even think this team's bad. I would use this. I just don't think it's good. But yeah, those are the 8 that we think. I'm saying again, just to reiterate, Godver, Godverdome, Rhino Shark, Clay. Clay's winning it all, obviously. Like Clay or Godver, unless Clay gets knocked out in semifinals, would be really funny. Angry Kid, Eric, Crash, MC, and Alex. I think Crash is gonna do just fine with this team. MC's gonna
You
do
know
just
what?
fine.
I will give one final shout out here.
Hmm.
Chunga, we put it 16th, but
This team can make it
I've seen
work.
him play before. I know what he's capable of,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
he might very well be able to do some funny
Yeah.
stuff with this team, and I wouldn't be surprised if he
Yeah.
had a record that had more wins than losses. I'll say
Yes.
that.
Yes. I think this team can do just fine, especially in low div. You gotta keep that into account with who's gonna win, who's gonna do good. It's low div. This team's gonna do just fine.
Yep.
All right. Are we ready
Moving
to?
right on.
Are we?
Do we want to take a quick little break?
I think I need a little breather here.
Take a quick little break. Take 5. BRB.
Bum, 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 bum. Okay,
How long was that?
about 2 seconds. It's all the break I need. It's a very long break, guys. So let's get right into it. Div
All right.
1, top div, number 16, Noxie.
Oh, brother's going through it right now.
Oh my god. So I thought you'd learn. I'm gonna get personal with you, Noxie. Season 4, you came in, you're Rap Yogurt's friend. You had Sun Team, you made it to
That was
finals.
season 5.
Season 5, sorry. Season 5, Sun Team. I traded you Groudon for Ho-Oh. You had a Sun Team. You made it to finals. That was a decent match. I did annihilate you with Raging Bolt, and I won. But, remember Solar Beam. And then season 6, you drafted some whack-ass team, and you went like 3-5, and it didn't go well. You had a bunch of double ups on typings. You had a lack of support. You had no removal. And then in season 7, you go with the double dragon, double water, double steel, double flying. Like, what the fuck happened? I thought you'd learn.
Going in.
I thought you'd learn. Dude, you spent 99 of your 115 points on this. And, like, the type chart looks great. The type chart looks amazing. Your stats look fine. Yeah, your stats look fine.
That's what happens when you draft a bunch of waters and steels, though. The type chart looks good.
Yeah,
that's
But, like, looking at your top 6, these mons are coming to every game. You have 1 Stealth Rocker, 1 Spiker, no removal. Dog.
No momentum.
No momentum.
Very little momentum.
You
got Rilla and you got Wake.
Oh my god, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it so much. And then Xatu was cool. But Xatu for 4 points and those defenses, 65, 70, 70, is your main bit of support. Your team is going to lose. You are going to go... I don't think you're going to go above 2-7 with this team unless you blow it up. Be so for real.
Yeah.
Because you made it to finals in season 5. You obviously know what you're doing. What the fuck is this?
Here's the difference. The team in season 5 was like a gold standard Sun team. It was a really good Sun team. It had all these pieces that you could ever want with a Sun team. It did fantastic. Yeah, this team is not that. This team is sporadic, volatile. It's like kind of just
this
pieces
team fucking
thrown
sucks.
together.
This team is awful. It is fucking horrendous, and I want the whole team blown up. Some kind of synergy.
I mean, you're limited to 5 trades.
Yeah, dude. Like you want like rain. You want rain, sun, and like terrain. And
yeah.
Like what are you? I'm done. I'm done looking at this team. I don't want to look at this team anymore. Let's get even more pissed off. Number 15, Nate. Again, the same fucking thing. Your top 6 are like 98 points, and they don't have like you have removal. You don't have any hazards. Oh my god. Okay, the top 6 is fine though. I feel like wow, look at that type chart.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Wow. Okay, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Finny Hitmonlee is like really funny here. You know, it's a nice terrain bit. I really wish that was a defensive terrain though. Like I feel like if it was grassy terrain, Hitmonlee would just be that much better because its defense is like 53 and you can't really get that sword stance up without like taking a risk. I mean, Frostmoth is fine as a sweeper, and Rampardos is your only instance of hazards. Your opponents do not have to run defog. They do not have to run heavy-duty boots. They can choice band their entire team, choice band leftovers, and they can outbalance you until you cry. Like, it's super, like, one-dimensional looking, but again, look at the top 6. This is like a ladder team right here in these top 6.
Right. Super scary, terrifying top 6.
Yes.
Hitmonlee and Frostmoth and Rampardos, not even bad. They do their thing.
Not even bad.
It's just what you see is what you get. There's very little sophistication to this team.
Yes.
And it's if you're up against a good builder with like a balanced team, I think they should be able to beat this team most of the time.
Yeah. Although, again, spoilers for week 1. We saw one of the craziest comebacks from a doomed game I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And, like, that game was doomed. We recorded it. We recorded our thoughts for that game. It was doomed.
Yeah, we'd written them off at a certain point, and then that very turn, everything just got flipped right around.
So, Nate played amazingly around that end game, and I feel like that's what this team is going to come down to, because like, okay, you have 4 instances of reliable healing, and one of them's like iffy. You have Roost on Roaring Moon, you have Synthesis Venusaur, you have Moonlight Ursaluna, and you have Pain Split Rotom.
I mean, that's not even bad.
It's not bad, but you lose the balance. You lose the balance so hard. Like I feel.
Yeah, the hazard thing is a big one, and the predictability of this team
Yeah.
also a big one.
But again, this is Nate. This is the kind of team that he runs with. I think he like just made it to like 1600 with like Banded Tyrantrum or something, or like Scarf Tyrantrum.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nate's gonna do fine. Nate's experienced enough to where a team like this is not going to hinder him. I just think that there's better teams, and I don't really think that. You know what? Nate could make playoffs with this, honestly.
Dude, I don't even necessarily think he should make a single trade.
No.
This is
not at all.
not a team that I
Yeah.
would want to have
Yeah.
drafted myself.
Yeah.
But like, dude, this team is still.
Yeah.
You got to respect the threats,
Yeah.
and it can very easily get out of hand.
Mm-hmm. I think Nate's gonna do just fine. I feel like some people are gonna like forget about Frostmoth or forget about Hitmonlee some games and then just get like mollywopped. And then
That's the thing.
and then,
You
like,
expect these to come every time,
Yeah.
to the point where you might overlook one of these bottom
Mhm.
three.
That's all I have to say. This team's actually not the worst. It's just not my favorite.
Well,
Now-
we're also comparing it to every other team, and
Yeah.
like these teams are all
yeah.
like, there's no team that you're just like, this makes no sense other than
Yeah.
Noxie's
It's
team,
just-
perhaps a
dude,
little bit.
Oh my god, I hate. Number 14. Now, before I open up the team that comes 14th, I just want to preface by saying the reason that this is the PRs that, like, these are the PRs that are being done, and that me and Chris are doing it, is because we have a fundamental better understanding for power rankings and how to judge a team than other people. I'm not throwing the crazy amount of shade on this next player and the draft helper Chi, but there's a reason that me and Chris are doing this and you aren't. Number 14 is Project. Sam, good buddy of ours. What happened? So it's not awful. It's not awful. However, your entire SPDF is based off of Glowking. You have this weird snow element where you really want to bring this top 6 to every game, and Kilowattrel's never going to come, and then you want to bring Ninetales for snow, but then that means you have to give up on one of your other, like, crazy mons. Like, you have Terra Arcanine, and that's cool and all, but, like, what's going on here? Your highest special attack stat is the Slowking, which is never coming as a special attacker unless you're, like, Trick Room Life Orb. And then you have, like, Greninja, and Greninja's great, but, like, I feel like a Porygon 2 shuts down this team, unironically. That's your main special attack, that's your main special defense, and then your defensive backbone is Skarmory Great Tusk, which is phenomenal. But, like, your team can't switch into an Ice Beam. Or, like, if someone predicts the snow and they run, like, Specs Blizzard, you're cooked. You can't switch in. And then look at this. Look at this rock weakness. When me and Chris were first starting to do the PRs, he sent me a screenshot of this, and I damn near lost my mind. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
So, okay, I've got some quick thoughts on this
Yeah.
team. I think when I look at this team, I go Greninja Great Tusk. That is going to be someone's top 2. I look at Slowking Galar and I look at Baxcalibur, and I go, that's going to be somebody else's top 2. And the fact that we've got them on one team, and then also a Skarmory behind that, another, like, high-end expensive mon, a super good defogger, on a team that already has a super reliable form of hazard removal as well. I think these top 4, top 5 really put this team in a position where what you're able to do to support the team is limited just based on the points. And I think that's kind of where this went south for me.
Yeah. Again, this is Sam. This is Project. I believe he won like a low tier, like a low div league before, but like he's won a league before. He has so much. I think he has more draft league experience than me, which is crazy. He's been in this for about like 4 years now. I think he's gonna do just fine. Again, it's another one of those Nate debacles where the team sucks, but like the player makes it better. And I feel like the team's gonna do just dandy. That's the final footnote of this.
It's similar to Nate's in that like
Yeah.
the top mons are so threatening that even seeing them coming, it's still a problem you got to deal with.
Yeah. But it's just like, and then another thing I want to get into. Why did you pick up Arcanine? Oh my god, I wanted it so bad.
Yeah, that's just a personal vendetta on that
It's
one.
just a personal. Why'd you go Arcanine? You have all the defensive pressure you can ever need. The Arcanine is not a mon that you can run as a special defense tank and have it work. It will get 2-shot. Number 13 is Lex. Lex Show 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lexi, whatever. This team sucks. Super threatening, I will say. Ogerpon Hearthflame, Raging Bolt, Primarina is cool, but like, your main speed comes from Mega Pidgeot that like can't switch into Stealth Rocks, and like you went round. What was Lex's pick? Lex was here. I'll pull this up right now. What pick was Lex? Pick 13. And Project was able to get Greninja as pick like 15. And you went Corviknight? Pick 1?
Yeah, Corv, I mean, obviously an inadvisable round 1 pick, but if you really want the Corv, it's not completely egregious to just be like, all right, I'm just going to get Corv because I want it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And
you got the Ogerpon, Raging Bolt, Primarina is a nice core there. You got Clodsire, Araquanid, nice defense. Even Hitmontop, nice defense and removal. Support from Klefki. Mega Pidgeot, other than the speed, I'm not really sure what it offers this team.
It offers nothing! Pidgeot does not deserve to be here.
Morpeko, another mon that I'm kind of just like, I don't really think it's doing much for the team.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not a bad team. It makes sense to me. It's just, and then the speed tiers, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 mons from 75 to 67. That's not ideal. No. Definitely, you want to have that spread out more.
Yeah.
That's about it. Those are probably my main gripes with the team. Other than that, like,
it's fine.
Bulky offense does what it does.
I also feel like Araquanid webs on this team is gonna be super underrated if you want to run like speedy offensive Raging Bolt, because of how webs work in the -1 to speed. That Raging Bolt will be able to outspeed a lot more than you think it will, and I think it's gonna be just fine. I mean, like, I just personally don't like this team. I don't understand the Mega Pidgeot. Like, when draft was happening, we were looking at this team and we were like, dude, this looks like a team of mons that people just like someone wanted to use these mons at one point and just picked all of them at once, and Lex actually confirmed that. So I feel like this power ranking is kind of skewed to where this is just what Lex wanted, and it's fine. It'll work. It'll do just fine.
Yeah, I wanted that Mega Pidgeot too, so I've got a personal vendetta.
Yeah. Number 12, Tay IV. This team originates from Tay going Mega Scizor Kyurem, and I sent Tay a screenshot of a league that I recently won. It was UCA season, I don't even remember, 7 or 8, in the Tau division, so it's like not the highest div, but like it was a pretty good team. It was Terra Kyurem, Mega Scizor, Cinderace, Swampert, Sylveon, Pecharunt, and like Terra Arboliva, and it just worked really well, but it like wasn't the most threatening team out there. Like, it's not in a power ranking setting, it'll place very low, in a real like playing setting, this team is amazing. But like the speed's low. Cinderace, you're scarfing it every time. Kyurem wants to set up here, but like I mean, you drafted Morgrim for screens, and then there's a Conkel. Like Terra Conk is kind of weird to me, but like I agreed with it when Tay went to go pick it because I think you have enough. What is it? Like your momentum's good enough to where you can really get it in and do that like Terra fighting, Terra normal gut stuff, and it's just fine.
Yeah, I think the lacking speed is going to be a big issue here. I think like outside of that and the flying weakness, I mean, this team has got a whole bunch of really solid pieces that are
Yeah,
all really good at what they do. And if Tay plays well, this team could do great.
yeah. This
I
team,
don't have a whole lot of issues with this team. It's
yeah,
kind of just some, like what you're saying, like something like a Pecharunt would probably help the team.
yeah. And Petron's still up. Petron's still available in Div 1.
Yeah,
So I mean, Tay, if you're listening,
maybe one or two trades
yeah,
and it would bump this team up a good few spots.
yeah. But I feel like as it is currently, it'll work just fine. It'll work just fine the way it is. Number 11. We have Helix Fossil. Helix Fossil is the co-owner slash moderator slash own. I don't know. I think Jode is the owner of NPBA. Helix is the co-owner. I'm not sure how that works. This team,
Okay.
yeah, this team's weird. It's super hyper offense that is disguised as balance. That's the best way I can put it. You have Mega Medicham, Zeraora, Samurott Hisui, Nidoqueen that work like really nice offensively, but like Nidoqueen disguises itself as balance, Melmetal disguises itself as balance, and then Terapagos. But like the more you look into it, the only Spidef on this team is Trapgos. Comfey does not
Yeah,
count.
yeah. You're kind of forced to run Assault Vest on like Samurott,
Yeah,
Nidoqueen, that kind of stuff.
which is not bad. Which is not bad.
Of
I
course.
love AV Nidoqueen, but like you want the rocks up, and then
Something that you said and that Kane also said,
mm-hmm,
this Melmetal,
mm-hmm,
if it was just a Kartana instead,
yes,
would make this team feel much better.
yeah,
It would give that nice speed tier that you want. And I think like Noivern and Zeraora being the two speed mons on this team, they kind of lack that power
yes.
that something like a Kartana would kind of bridge the gap there.
Like if you look at this, oh my god,
Kind of
oh my
nice.
god, and then like something making waves in OU recently is defensive, or Natdex OU is defensive like synthesis defog Kartana because it just it's
Yeah.
base 181. It does enough damage. Like, and that can be a pretty nice defogger along with Noivern. And then Kartana costs less than Melmetal. It's like a point less.
And
So,
then maybe you could pick up some sort of a Spadefmon.
yeah, or like a ground resist. Could be nice.
This team, I mean, outside of that, I got no complaints.
Yeah, it's gonna do nicely. Number 10, we have a newcomer, the winner of the legendary division of FBL, which is the second highest, I believe. We just participated in FBL where Chris won the top division. Very
Sure
well done.
did.
This team's interesting. Super like super stall, like kind of bouncy with Coco, but like there's no synergy with the electric terrain. Like you went gouging fire, and I would have almost preferred you went Iron Moth, which is still on the board, just to have the synergy and
Yeah.
a grounded poison because coughing is not coughing sucks. Like if you take coughing off of here because it just has nice defensive capabilities, like you can't switch into a Moonblast, dog. Like whoever has Iron
I
Valiant
mean,
is gonna mollywop this team. But you have Blissey, you have Cresselia, you have Mega Aggron defensively. It just works. It works. It works fine.
actually, that's an interesting point. Iron Valiant does have a really nice matchup
Mm-hmm.
into this team because it can just run mixed.
Yeah.
Um, but this team is like a super solid, balanced team. It's got all the pieces of a draft team that you would ever want.
Yeah.
I think the main thing holding this back in PRs is that there's no terrain abuse, there's no sun abuse,
Hmm.
there's no like that next level synergy that really puts your team over the edge.
Yeah.
Which if that's the main complaint about someone's team, like that's not even really a complaint. Balanced teams work just fine without like gimmicky stuff, you know?
Hmm. And then also you have a lack of, what is it? Momentum. But those two momentum mons are 19-point Tapu Koko and 20-point Tornado Styrian.
The two most reliable momentum mons
The
in the
two
game.
most reliable momentum and two of the best Pokemon in National Dex Draft.
Yeah.
And,
Also, the unfortunate part of that though is that there's no slow pivot when Coco
mhm.
and Torn are potentially your two of your main damage
Yeah.
outputs on the team. You would rather
Oh,
have like
oh,
slow
hold on,
momentum
hold
to
on, hold
get
on.
them in
Hold on, time.
rather than switch out and get. I mean, you know what? It still works just fine because you switch out and let your bulkier mons take the hit, and then just rinse and repeat.
Time out. There is a teleporting Blissey on this team.
Yeah,
That can be nice. That could be really nice. This
yeah.
this team
Again,
this
we're
team
looking for things to nitpick here.
yeah.
This is a super solid team.
Yeah, this is a super solid team. Moving on, number 9. Again, I want to reiterate that this is why we do PRs. Sam Project and she had this team at number 2. This team is not good. This team is butt cheeks. So, let's list out the offensive Pokemon on this team. You have Dragapult, who's probably the best offensive Pokemon in draft. You have
And
Mian.
that's where
Hold
that
on, hold on,
ends.
hold on. You have Mienshao, who kind of sucks, fell off super hard. You have like Iron Thorns as setup. Like this team,
And he's kind of forced himself to this Moltres
yeah,
is gonna have to be run
mm-hmm,
offensive just about.
yeah, or like,
And it's the main defogger as well. I mean, you got
yeah,
Rotom, you
yeah,
got Kamala.
yeah, or like you're forced to run like, what is it, Life Orb, Trick Room, Slowbro, or like Banded Tinglu, just to break through balance. Like this team gets outbalanced by Toxic. Like a mod with Toxic who can beat Registeel just bullies this team around. I feel like it's not going to do very good.
I think the team is super tough to deal with because of how defensive it is, but it's just
Yes.
lacking the offensive pressure, and that's why
Yes.
we've ranked it where it is.
Yeah, I feel like once one of the defensive mons drops, the team falls apart. And like I will say that there is not a consensus you are bringing these 6 Pokemon every game, because you have like this, and you can go like Registeel Iron Thorns for setup. You can go Mienshao Rotom if you're worried about hazards. You can go Mienshao Roserade. You can go Registeel Roserade. Like these top 4 are probably coming to every game, but like other than that,
Yeah.
it's hard to think. But like, what are you spending 2 points on Granbull for? You
Yeah,
know?
I think there's a bunch of these low tier mons that can just
Yeah.
get replaced. Komala, Lickitung,
Dude,
Granbull,
you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? You know what's
Roserade.
crazy? You take Komala and you take Roserade and you introduce a Kartana, and this team's 85 times better.
I think we've figured out the solution to fixing every team on the draft, and it's just
Kartana.
add a Kartana.
Yeah, like Kartana's not picked enough, dude. That mon is so disgusting.
Yeah, I guess if anyone actually picks it up, or if everyone just
Yeah,
thinks that we're stupid.
we are probably just stupid.
Yeah, I'm not saying they'd be wrong.
Yeah. Number 8, we have Ben. Username some random Ben. This team. Okay, me and Chris had a whole like half an hour long discussion about this at like what, like 12 a.m.
Oh, that's right.
Just like talking about this, where this team is just all breakers and it needs some defense, and this team is all defense and it needs some breakers. If player-to-player trades were allowed this season, which they're not, because y'all complained about it last season after I got Dragapult Darkrai. Sorry.
After you rigged getting Dragapult Darkrai.
Shit! But Um, like I feel like if trades were able to be done, like putting Tangrowth on this team for like Roserade and Iron Thorns, and then like taking like Tinglu or Moltres or something and putting it over here would just make both of these teams infinitely better. But like there's some cool mons in this team. Like Florges is really nice as a special defense mon, but sometimes it doesn't take the hits that you need it to, unfortunately, because of mixed mons and whatnot. Like Tangrowth Florges is cool. I did that in BTL this last season. I made it to finals. I lost to Roy, funny enough. But like, I don't know. This team also doesn't have nice speed tiers. But there's like Mega Banette, Scizor, Slowking, Garchomp can be Scarf or Skill Shot, Thundurus is sprinting Prankster T-Wave, Porygon Z is Scarf most of the time. This team's good. It's definitely threatening, it's just not the best.
It needs a little more versatility, I think. Like you said at the beginning, it's wall breaker, wall breaker, wall breaker, wall breaker, wall breaker, wall breaker.
Yeah. And then like your defensive options are Colossal and Florges, like, and it, like drafting Florges and Slowking seems super redundant to me, because Slowking is just better Florges, but like Florges gets Aromatherapy and Wish. Like, I don't get it. But there is a Regenerator core. There is Tangrowth Slowking. That is pretty cool.
Yep.
That's like part of the reason that we put it above Roy, but I feel like this team isn't making playoffs. Like,
I wouldn't be surprised if it did make playoffs.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Just
I just don't
like
think it's
kind
gonna
of
happen.
from here up, I feel like the teams are gonna be super threatening.
Yeah. It'll be just fine. Number 7. We have ODL Season 2 winner Orange Soda Pop.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, right? Or ODL Season 2, the first Draft League I ever played. Love Junichi. What a loser, though. Emlop Chi-Yu offense, and then that's it. That's all the offense. And then you get like Rotom Wash, which is okay. Certainly fallen off recently. I've actually considered lowering Rotom Wash and Rotom Heat in points, but that's a whole different story. And then like you got like a weird Trick Room mode to your team, but no reliable Trick Room setter. Your Trick Room setter is Slowbro Galar, which if you're running Slowbro Galar, like Terra Slowbro Galar, you want it to be like Life Orb with Trick Room. You get your damage off and then you peace out. Like, I just don't think Enamorous Therian fits, but I think it fits defensively. It's super interesting. And then like what's Shuckle there for? Why did you spend 5 points on Shuckle? For webs?
Yeah, the Shuckle's kind of funny, right? Because it's like you set webs for what?
Yeah.
Your whole team is
Slow.
other than Chi-Yu and Lopunny.
Yeah. Like I guess it's for like Specs Chi-Yu or like Life Orb, but even then you can just run like Boots on like a Garchomp and outspeed it.
Yeah, and I mean the teams
Yeah.
possibly got one of the best defensive profiles of all the teams here.
Yes, one
it's
of
just
the
the
best,
offense
yeah.
that's lacking.
Yeah. Like, if you were to remove Shuckle, you get a much better understanding of what you're actually looking at here, which is low HP, high defense, which doesn't work all the time. But I think it'll be just fine. I think this team will do good. Number 6. We have ODL Season 5.5 winner. Rap
so,
Yogurt. Yeah, super experienced
whooped
player.
me in finals.
Yeah, because you suck.
True.
Dio Speed, Urshifu Rapid Strike, and Amorous. Cool top 3. But, like, your speed is horrid. Like, you just hover around the 85 to 70 range for way too long. And that's just not very cool, but for this team, it's like hyper offense with a weird variant of stall, I'll say, where you have Empoleon, you have Gligar, Terra Gligar at that, and you have like Quillfish to set up T-Spikes. And it's not bad, but you are forcing your Mega Altaria into that weird defensive spot that Chris was talking about before with, I think it was Eric's team in Div 2, where you want this thing to be super defensive all the time. and I just don't think it'll be able to really do that as much as you want it to. But like, come on. It's Urshifu, Rapid Strike, Enamorus, King Gambit, and Deoxys Speed. This team is going to be fine.
Honestly, I think with like maybe a couple of these lower tier mons being traded out for something else, and the only other thing about this team that I don't love, but I think I understand where he's coming from, would be pairing the Urshifu and the King Gambit.
Yeah.
Wait, you have Urshifu Rapid here. Isn't it the other Urshifu that he drafted?
Oh! Wait. Wait. Hold on.
Or am I wrong?
Hold on. We can look at this real quick.
I think it's Single Strike that he drafted.
This is
It is Single Strike.
It is Single Strike. My
Bottom
bad.
right.
My deepest apologies.
So the point I was getting at was I don't really love the Single Strike Urshifu and the King Gambit. I feel like they kind of do pretty similar stuff as far as what they're able to hit.
Yeah.
But I also see like they're such imposing physical attackers that okay, maybe you spend your wall trying to chip down one of them and you say you get it down, but now you're chipped yourself. And the only thing you had that could check these two mons is now not able to check the second of them. I think that's probably the idea here. Maybe I'm wrong. But if you're able to check one of these two mons, if you got more than one mon on your team that can check these two, then he's in a super rough matchup there. So I don't love that. Other than that, I think this team is super threatening.
This team
Deoxys, Chipu, Enamorus.
Yeah.
Deoxys is a little bit forced into like a support role, which not a problem at all.
No.
Like totally works.
Yeah.
But it is the main source of speed of the team. Nothing even above 106 after that.
Yeah, it's not
so
even...
it's a finicky team, but if anyone can navigate a team like this, I think Rap is more than capable.
Incapable, more capable of navigating it. There's a lot of like common speedy scarfers that kind of just like run through this team. Like, what is this team really gonna do to a Cinderace besides use Mega Altaria?
What does this team do to a Kartana?
What does it do to a Kartana? Actually, though, that's really funny. Yeah, dude, this team falls apart to Kartana, and then like Gligar is just there. Like, if you want to run setup Altaria, it's cool, but I mean, again, not my style of hyper offense where you have like weird stall moments or like balance moments with Empoleon, Gligar, Quillfish, and like what's Drifloon doing? Also, what I want to talk about is using this one extra point on Dugong when you have an Empoleon. Like, Dugong's whole point is to check bundle, which nobody drafted. So I don't know what it's doing as a one-pointer. For a one-pointer, I would have wanted to go like literally anything else, like a web setter. Dude, a 1-point web setter for this team would have been sick.
Yeah.
I feel like that would have worked out much better, but that's okay. Number 5. Number 5, you guys are going to be pissed off because, you know, oh, you guys always put yourselves at fucking high points. Number 5 is me. This team is fucking disgusting. My quick notes before I say anything is that Darkrai, Gliscor, Jirachi is a crazy top 3. Mega Heracross supports Darkrai, Gliscor really nicely. Jirachi Wish is going to be super cool. Milotic, Gliscor is a disgusting defensive profile. Regieleki setting up screens for Heracross, and Darkrai is disgusting. Also matchup fishes against ground types, which the whole team deals with. Sinistcha is a really nice Terra Captain, but it's like not the secondary special attacker that I need necessarily. Entei as a Terra Captain is really good. Just throw a band on it with Terra Fire, Terra Water, and it's really good. And then Tauros is just here to like deal with Spectrier and like other ghost types. I don't have a grounded poison. I believe I went Terra Poison on Sinistcha just in case, but like I'm gonna be like Boots Regieleki all the time and be like, you know, defog Gliscor because that's what it is. And it's just like, if you're gonna knock anything, it's that this team doesn't have the best hazard removal. But like other than that, I feel like this team's great.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's always going to be an aspect too of we understand our own teams probably better than we understand anybody else's teams because we drafted them ourselves, right? So I think it's hard to not rate yourself high, but at the same time, we do try to be as objective as possible here with everyone's ranking, and this team is obviously super threatening. I think the only two mons that I would have any gripe with are like Sinistra and Tauros. I wouldn't say are perfect fits for this
Yeah,
team, but they're not terrible either.
yeah.
And the rest of this team is brutal. Darkrai, Mega Heracross, Regieleki, Entei, big offense.
Hmm.
Gliscor and Jirachi, nice defense and utility. Jirachi does some funny stuff. Milotic, super solid defensively. Yeah, this is a great team.
Yeah, it's like super hard to press like a status move onto this team because
Speed tiers
yeah,
look good. It's a little bit on the fast side. I wonder if maybe against a team like Orange's, a slower team, how
yeah.
something like that would go. Um,
But like other
but
than
at the
that,
same time, we know that Rapid knows what he's doing.
yeah. Season
He'll cook something
5
up.
winner, I believe. Season 5.
Yeah, that's right.
It's on the goat. Um, I like this team a lot. The whole reason that Mega Heracross is even here because it kind of looks out of place, honestly. But like, I needed a physical wall breaker, and I have not. If you guys know me, Mega Heracross is like my baby. Like Mega Heracross was my kill leader for so long, and I think I only brought it to like 5 leagues, and it racked up like 89 kills or something like that. I love Mega Heracross, and I wanted to
The
use it
return
again.
of the bug.
Yeah, I wanted to use it again so bad. Now they got Trailblaze. I'm just really excited to use this mon again.
Yeah, it's a whole new dimension added to this mod now since you
Mhm.
last used it.
Mhm. So, it's cool. I like it. We can move on from this though. You guys can drop whatever comments you want about this team and how I'm a dumbass and just don't understand that this team sucks. I don't
Yeah,
know, but
yell at us in the
yeah,
comments.
but I just made it to finals with Gliscor Milotic and it's disgusting. Number 4. Sorry again. We put ourselves high, but we feel as if our teams are good. I have Chris. Chris, you can talk about your team before I do.
Sure. I do think there is maybe an argument to be made for you to be above me. I think maybe even for Rap to be above me.
Yeah.
Um, I think the offense of this team is super good, and I think the defense of this team is not great, but it's good enough. And I think that alone is just kind of going to get this team where it needs to go most of the time. The momentum is a little bit lacking. The removal is a little bit unfortunate in that it's Dragonite and Braviary.
It's Dragonite and Braviary.
Right, right. Um, Other than that, I think this is going to be a super fun team to use. The offense is just really what puts this team up as high as it is, I think, for me.
Yeah.
Tapu Lele, Sneasler, Spectrier behind that,
Mhm.
Dragonite if it wants to run offensive, uh, Metagross in the psychic terrain, Terra Metagross, Terra Delphox in the psychic terrain
Yeah.
with Umbreon as a backup defense, Gastrodon, Braviary as well, and I mean
Yeah.
maybe I'll even bring that Quillet in once.
Hey, Colton's not bad. My notes on this team. This is one of the craziest offensive teams I've ever seen. And I'm not going to talk too much about it because, we put ourselves at the top. We obviously built our teams together. Dragonite has to come to almost every game. Heavy duty boots, Roosty, Fog, and support. And I think Dragonite's just fine at that role. And then being kind of locked off with E-Speed with Psychic Terrain is like not the biggest downfall just because of the fact that I did it before with 2 big priority users in Raging Bolt and Lycanroc. We'll end up going over like previous teams I've used for championships and like how to really really build. Like we'll do like a 3-hour video on team building one day if you guys really want, but like it's not as big of a setback as you think it is, mainly because Tapu Lele loves coming out at the end of a game. And so like Terra Metagross with Bullet Punch, Dragonite with E-Speed, that's going to be just fine. Sneasler's disgusting. It doesn't even have to come as in burden like all the time. Spectre's disgusting. This team's gross. I really like it. Umbreon and Gastron just to really put on the brakes. It's cool. I will say this team super lacks momentum. I feel like if there was
Yeah.
a little bit of momentum at all, this would be better. And I feel like
I'm
that's
still looking at options on the draft board
yeah,
every day too. I'm like,
dude.
is there something better I could do? So I might end up making some
I
trades.
don't know if we still have the image somewhere. I'm not gonna spend too long looking, but like if I look up in our DMs, your old team is probably
The old
somewhere.
one.
Yeah,
Oh, I had
it
like
was.
Zarude, Heatran.
Yeah.
I had
Oh my
Sand
god,
Slash as my rapid spinner.
it was
What
bad.
else did I have? Tira Diancie.
Yeah.
It was okay, honestly. It just wasn't the kind of team that I wanted to play. Even this
Yeah,
team
it
is a little
was.
bit out of my comfort zone. I'm trying some new stuff with this.
Yeah. I'm still
So
trying
it'll
to
be
find
interesting to
it.
see how it goes. But I do think the team on its
Yeah.
own, just remove the player from the team, right? Just look at the team. It's the offense that makes it so threatening to me.
Yeah, before your top five was Spectrier, Sneasler, Mew, Zarude, Heatran, and that was like real.
You,
It was actually a really cool top five, but it just wasn't what you
yeah,
needed. And now
yeah.
this is much better. So
If
that's
I still had that team, I would have probably ranked this team a good bit lower, just based on my own preferences.
yeah, definitely. We can move on now, though. I feel like we've
Yeah,
said more than enough about ourselves. Number
yeah,
three,
yeah. Top three.
Jake W. Jake W is a UCA player. That's what I know them as. I think Jake plays in like a shit ton of draft leagues, but
I've seen Jake all around.
yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen Jake everywhere. Jake's team is gross. Mega Dancy, Lando T, Palafin, great, like amazing, super hyper offensive top three. P2,
oh, crazy
P2,
team.
P2 we'll get to. Meowscarada is super nice for speed. Armarouge, Terra Armarouge is great. Rev of Room to set up. You know, Cyclozar is nice support sometimes. Even the 1 point Terra Huntail with Shell Smash is disgusting.
Yeah,
I don't think Porygon 2 fits on this team. I think
it fits in as far as a defensive mon,
yes.
but it doesn't like it's not your standard team that you're going to see a Porygon 2 on.
Yeah. It's not the best that you could have done. And that's what really takes it down a couple notches. But like other than that, this team is it's wonderful. If you can figure out how to make Palafin
Right.
work, it's great. Dude, if you look at Mega Diancie, Landorus and Palafin, like in hero form, and you see that average attack stat of like 153.3, that's absurd.
I think this is
Absolutely.
how you're supposed to
Yeah.
draft around Palafin. You have a bunch of mons that
155.
are way faster than it.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And I can't figure out how to make Palafin work. I think Jake will figure it out because Jake's a very good player. I have no other notes. I just don't think Cyclezar and Electrode really fit. I feel like I'd want something better, but like Cyclezar is gonna be fine with regen.
This team is just all go go go.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much defense to it outside of this Porygon.
Yeah.
Defensive Landorus could be run. That's
Mm-hmm.
about it. This team is all like top tier wall
Gas.
breakers.
Absolute
Every
gas.
setup mon, every Terramon, I should say, is a like threatening setup mon that can
Mm-hmm.
just sweep a game.
Even like
Yeah, he's got
Armarouge.
utility in Cyclizar and
Yeah.
Electrode. This is a super solid offensive team.
Yeah, even Armarouge can just like go Choice Specs or Choice Scarf Terrafire and annihilate teams.
Yep,
It's great. I love this team. Number two.
it's done it before and it'll do it again.
Yes. Number two, Aaron. I
Yeah.
have nothing to say about this team. There's
Okay.
there's Qianpao, there's Ogerpon, you have Glimmora, Goldango, you have Zapdos as a defensive backbone, Zapdos, Goldango, Hatterene, Mudsdale, Terra Arboliva adds to this team, Terra Crocolore's nice. Even your low tiers are great. Illumise is
Yeah.
super reliable. Throw, it's actually really funny. And like
Yeah.
Quaxwell's just there to be there. I think this team's
Yeah,
great.
I think Quaxwell, he just had that extra point
Yeah.
left over after he got everything he needed, and
Mhm.
he was like, sure, I'll just get that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Goldango Glimmora, we know what that does. Pair that with the offense of Qianpao Ogerpon,
Mhm.
super threatening, defensive backbone of Zapdos, Hatterene, Mudsdale, Arboliva, and Crocolore. Dude,
Yeah.
dude.
This team's very difficult to deal with.
Yeah, this is not just a straightforward win for
Yeah.
anyone who's got to
Yeah.
face this team.
This is super complex. Like you have to sit down in the team builder for a while to figure this one out.
So many different ways these games could go.
Yes. That's it. That's it. Number
It's
one,
yeah,
yeah,
super solid team.
yeah.
Very little negative to say about it.
Number one, I feel like most people in the division could have seen this coming. Number one, we have
This team's
Kane.
crazy.
We have Kane. You may be looking at this team and sitting there and thinking, what? Like, this is the number one team, really? But I mean, if you look at it, if you give it a second to just let it let it explain itself. You have Annihilate Grimmsnarl. That's the game. That's it. You have to deal with Annihilate Grimmsnarl. You have Iron Treads for spin support for a nice bulky steel type. Terra Volcanian's disgusting. Thunder Asterion. We saw this with Angry Kids team, I think, with the Volcanian Thunder Asterion.
Yeah.
There's an Ogre Pawn, just to add insult to injury. I don't like how Tyrantrum is your dragon type, but like I didn't even draft the dragon type. Espeon is whatever. Without Terra, I think it's kind of shit. I think you could have comfortably went Terra Espeon over Terra Tyrantrum, because I think Terra Tyrantrum is just a little overkill. I think if you just like Banded or Scarf Tyrantrum, it does enough damage. Especially with a Rockhead Head Smash, it's fine. Mega Beedrill, super reliable. And then Porygon Base is really nice for like Spectrier matchups, but like you have a Grimmsnarl. This team's fucking crazy. I don't want to play against this.
Yeah. So when you're playing against Kane, just know that hazards are going up and you're never getting them down.
Yes. Like,
and that's about it. And then you're playing the game of, do I press a fighting move or do I not press a fighting move? And yeah, you're in such a awkward spot.
Yeah.
You're having to constantly make reads against this kind of a team.
Yeah.
And even if you do make the reads, you're hitting into screens from Grimmsnarl anyway. So you're going to make a read and just not do the damage that you need to do. This team is going to be tough for anyone to beat.
Yeah, I don't want to play against this.
I think one of the best matchups of the season, if this does happen, is going to be Aaron versus Kane.
Yes,
the two teams are pretty similar in how they work.
I would actually say that in the matchup, Aaron's team does beat Kane's, but I feel like Kane is a much more experienced draft player than Aaron, and so like there's so many factors. Draft League is so fun.
Where is Aaron from?
BTL.
Okay, BTL. Cool.
Yeah, I think Aaron just made finals of Violet Division. I could be wrong. I think I could actually check that right now if you want to talk about something.
Well, okay, we still have, as we did with Div 2, we can pick the 8 players that we think are going to make it to playoffs.
Yeah.
I'll say right off the bat, I think Kane is a contender to win this whole thing.
Yes.
You base the team that he has, and then pair that with Kane we've seen before draft some funny teams and
Kane
doesn't necessarily do that great. Yeah. But when Kane gets a solid team, I don't know if there's a scarier player around.
Yeah, I think,
quite honestly,
I don't remember what season of ODL it was. It was like season 5 or season 4.5. I don't know, dude. I've had enough of the ODL off seasons, but like Kane won that. Like, Kane's a good player. We had him on Fraud Watch recently. Very recently, Kane was on Fraud Watch. So he's doing super bad, super out of it. I feel like this is his return. Because there was a while where
this team is...
there was a while where after his ODL win, Kane was like, all right, I'm kind of sick of this shit. I need to retire. And he came back. It was kind of awful for a while. And then he's back with this. I can't wait to go over this in weekly recaps.
Yeah. Agreed.
I feel like Kane's making playoffs. I don't know if Aaron's going to make playoffs. Just
I think
it's
his
possible.
His loss against Nate today
spoilers
was not so much that he did something wrong, but that Nate literally brought the most obscure but perfect thing for the matchup.
It was great.
Unburdened Mach Punch Hitmonlee. That's just
that was like one of probably one of the P2 highlights of all time was Nate's week
God
1
tier
against
prep.
us. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Kane's making playoffs. Jake W's definitely making playoffs. Me and you, it's like undeniable. I feel like Rap's making it,
Yeah.
and then it gets really ambiguous from there. I personally think that that's 5. The next 3 players to make playoffs are Nate, Project.
I could see both Nate and Project, despite how low we put
Mhm.
them in the power rankings. I could see
Yeah.
both of them making playoffs.
And for a last player, oh god.
I think funny based on how low we put them, but Kanto Yellow has a good shot.
Yeah.
I think Ben has a reasonable shot.
Mhm.
And
Helix Fossil's definitely gonna do good.
dude, I mean,
There's so many. We looked at
okay,
teams.
the Noxie shade is unreal right now, but there's no one outside of
Yeah.
Noxie that I would be surprised if they made playoffs.
Oh my
If
god.
Noxie makes playoffs, I'll be here to eat my words.
Yeah, dude. I think Noxie needs to blow it up like right now. I'm going to go out on a whim and say that the final person that I think is going to make playoffs is Roy. I think he can make it work. I think there's going to be a trade or 2 done, and this team's going to get so much better, and Roy's going to make playoffs.
Yeah, he's got some threatening
Mhm.
pieces. He just needs a little bit more offense,
Yeah.
and I think that puts him in a way better spot.
Yeah.
And I think the only other teams we haven't really mentioned as far as playoff contenders would be like Helix, Fossil, and Lexi, who
I don't think Lex
I could
will make
easily
playoffs.
see both of them making playoffs.
Yeah.
Helix Fossil's team is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if that Melmetal for Cartana or some sort of trade along
Something
those lines would
happens.
happen, this team is a huge threat. And Lexi's
Yeah.
team, solid, bulky offense, like, can definitely get the job done.
Yeah. But other than that, that is the P2Dl Season 7 power rankings. I don't want to talk too much more about this because it's already an hour and a half in, and I have to prep and build for a PGP matchup that I have not prepped for yet. So,
Get her done.
thank you all for watching. If you watched the whole way, I doubt that you did. I bet you just skipped to your name and cried when you saw it wasn't number 1.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I feel like we were much nicer in these than we could have been. The only team that I think that requires trades to be somewhat able to make playoffs is this fucking. Oh my god.
Okay. I think we've beat the dead horse at this point.
I've killed it. The dead horse has been killed, resurrected from the dead, and killed once again. So, thank you all for watching, for participating in P2DL. Season 7, Week 1 is currently up.
Send us your hateful DMs.
Yeah, send us your hate speech. Send us your death threats. I'd love to see them. Other than that, thank you very much. Have fun this season, and we're out of here.
Catch you guys on the next one.
Peace.